The worst case scenario, one of my worst fears, is that I get halfway through the game, I'm so burnt out, but I so want to just put it out there. Oh my god, he's got the face cam out. What is happening? What in God's green gravy is happening? Slay Queen is being put on hiatus. You might be wondering why. The game seems like it's going great, and it is. It is. Besides from the occasional bug fix and crash, there isn't really anything major that's stopping me from being able to continue making this game. Everyone who playtested it had fun. I had a lot of support in the comments. People said it looked pretty good. So what's going on? It's me, as a developer. So the first game I tried to make was a game called Angry Little Man. It wasn't a very complicated game. In fact, if you look back into my devlogs, you can see a game called Zooming Through Them Forest Loops, and it was pretty much that game. And the reason why I tried to make that game was because it was small in scope, there wasn't much to it, but it could still be fun. I dreaded making that game because it wasn't the game I wanted to make. I just didn't work on it, okay? So I figured, unless it's a game I really want to make, I'm probably not going to go back to it. I'm probably not going to make that game. So the alternative is, okay, make an RPG, make it short, make it simple. And that's what I wanted to do with Slay Queen. So I made a game that I figured was pretty small in scope and didn't have too many features, and I would go on right ahead with development and then put it out. I was right that there weren't too many features. What I was wrong about was just how complicated those few features are. Let's take the targeting system, for example. That targeting system is insane for a first-time solo video game developer, okay? That is insane. Having minigame powers on the overworld, that's also pretty insane. Having different enemies have different routines while you're on the overworld, balancing all of these powers, making my own menu system when honestly, I probably didn't even have to. That's insane. I ended up adding so much customization to a highly specialized engine that it's just a Frankenstein's monster, and maintaining it is essentially a nightmare. It's a headache. Now, I know developing a video game is always going to be a bit of a nightmare, a bit of a headache. I get that. I get if I made something smaller, it would still be a nightmare and a headache. The issue is degrees. I haven't built up the game development muscles yet to be able to tackle this project yet. Like, I don't feel like I'm at the point where I can do this project justice. I feel like I'm the only one who can develop it, but I can't develop it yet. You know what I mean? The worst case scenario, one of my worst fears, is that I get halfway through the game, I'm so burnt out, but I so want to just put it out there that I end up releasing it in a semi-complete state, and then I don't update it, because after you release the game, the next 6 months, you're going to be releasing updates, communicating with the community, and if I'm burnt out past the point of picking myself back up and working on the game's going to suffer, the audience is going to suffer, and I'm worried that right now that's exactly what's going to happen if I keep working on the game as the developer I am now. Now, you might be thinking other newbie game developers have put out big, complex, successful projects before. People like Toby Fox or Thor, believe it or not, have worked on other things prior to that. In Thor's case, he worked at Blizzard. Toby Fox's case, he had published many things on the internet before. He had worked on, the Earthbound Halloween hack. He did a lot of the music for Homestuck. Like, he already had a presence, right? Like, those people had already built up the muscles to complete and stick with big projects already. One of the biggest things keeping me from putting this project away is that I'd feel like a quitter and that I'd have quitter's remorse. But after thinking about it, I don't think that's fair of me to think of myself as a quitter. I want to share a little story with you right now. Okay, look me in the eye. Singular eyeball. I wrote a 60,000 word novel before. Why am I bringing this up at all? Well, it's because it took me 8 years to write that novel. I bring this up because Mama didn't raise no quitter, but also it taught me a lot about my own limits and what it means to take on something that you're not really ready for. And I learned what happens when you let the fear of thinking of yourself as a quitter take over. When you could easily just put it aside for a little bit and then come back when you're ready. The work was huge and sprawling, and I had an ego about me that said, hey, as this is my first attempt to try to get published, and I'm a fucking terrific writer, and I didn't want to write something short. And all of that came back to bite me in the ass because I didn't know how to manage it yet. I hadn't developed as a writer enough yet. Hence why it took me 8 years. Now, that's not to say it was all for naught, right? Like, I learned a lot. I learned a lot about my craft. I learned a lot about how to plot, to create characters, what makes for good drama. My prose improved substantially, but a lot of it was also wasted time. Like, I get it. Learning is inefficient, just necessarily. You're learning. I get that. But this was way more inefficient and way unnecessarily painful to finish this novel when it didn't have to be. I regret sticking with it for as long as I did. I don't regret finishing it, but I do regret not setting it aside. I think that was the most important lesson for me. It was distinguishing between when the going's simply getting tough and when you're making a mistake. And sticking to that novel the way that I did was a mistake. And my fear, competing with the fear of feeling like a quitter, is that sticking with this game as a developer that I am now is a mistake. But what was so bad with sticking with that project overall if I learned all these great things, despite it, being stressful and taking forever? I just don't feel like it was worth it overall, really. I could have learned a lot of those things, almost all of those things, with a lot less grief and a lot more life ahead of me. That's really what this is about. The first channel name for this, Cloud-HeadedDev, if that's still the name by the time that you're watching this, it was Mounting Dreams, because the daydreams, the stories that I wanted to tell, the experiences that I wanted to create were all mounting because I've been keeping them in here, and not out there, right? Not out there to you. Yeah, you see that? How do I feel about all this, putting this on ice and everything? Look at me. Does it look like I want to make this video? I feel like I'm letting a lot of people down, which may sound silly because I only have like 230 subscribers, but for somebody who's never had that many strangers invest in something that you care about, that's a lot of people. One person in particular I keep thinking about a lot is Meliodas, who's been like a cheerleader in the comments. I really didn't want to let them down. And I can say that I'm going to put this project aside for now and come back to it later, but until that actually happens, it'll remain to be seen. It'll be people who really want Slay Queen to come out will be holding their breath until I finally announce it's coming back. Regardless, I think this is the right decision, so I'm going to stick with it. I hope you guys are excited for the next project that I'm going to be working on. And also remember, the NSA is holding all of your information and has every dick pic that you've ever sent, every nude. You can't get it back. It's in their hands now. So just, enjoy life. Enjoy life. Have a grand old time. That's what I do.